They said it couldn't happen. They said the pipeline was dry, the farm was gutted, and the next generation of greatness in pinstripes was years away, maybe a decade. They said Brian Cashman had traded the future one too many times. They said the Bronx was living on borrowed time. And then, right in the middle of a Florida spring, right when nobody was paying attention, a 22-year-old kid from the Dominican Republic threw a baseball so hard that Garrett Cole, a man who has pitched in every big moment this sport has to offer, walked off the mound shaking his head in disbelief. A 6'7" outfielder built like a redwood started destroying baseballs at a rate that nobody had seen since a young Aaron Judge was cutting through minor league pitching a decade ago. A 20-year-old shortstop with baseball blood flowing through his veins started making plays in the field that grown men with 10 years of professional experience could only stand and watch. The future of the New York Yankees isn't coming. It is already here, and the baseball world is just now starting to understand what that means. If you're not already subscribed, hit that button right now, because this is exactly the kind of story we live for on this channel. Deep dives into the biggest names, the loudest moments, and the drama that the box scores never capture. Now let's get into it. The New York Yankees. There is no organization in professional baseball that carries more weight, more history, more expectation, or more scrutiny than this franchise. 27 World Series championships, Monument Park, Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Mantle, Jeter, Rivera. The names never stop, the standard never drops. And when the Yankees go through a period where they are not winning titles, the questions come fast and they come hard. What is wrong? Who failed? When will it end? After losing the 2024 World Series to the Los Angeles Dodgers in devastating fashion, after coming so close and falling short on the biggest stage, the Yankees entered the 2025-26 offseason at a crossroads. Their stars were aging, their rotation was hurt, and a farm system that had been picked clean by trade deadline moves over multiple seasons was only just beginning to restock. General Manager Brian Cashman sat down at his end-of-season press conference and said something that Yankees fans needed to hear. He told the media that the organization planned to measure some opportunities for young players who are knocking on the door from down below. That sentence, quiet, almost understated, was actually a declaration. It was Cashman telling the world that the era of pure win-now desperation was giving way to something more sustainable. The next chapter of Yankees baseball was being written by kids who had not yet stood on a big league mound or dug into the batter's box at Yankee Stadium. And the names at the top of that list were already making people stop what they were doing and pay very close attention. Let's start at the very top, George Lombard Jr. The name itself carries weight. His father, George Lombard Sr., is a former MLB outfielder and current bench coach for the Detroit Tigers, and his younger brother, Jacob, is viewed as a potential top 5 pick in the upcoming draft. This is not just a baseball family, this is a baseball dynasty in the making. George Jr. grew up inside major league clubhouses, watching how the best players in the world prepared, competed, and handled failure. He absorbed it all. And when the Yankees selected him 26th overall in the 2023 MLB draft out of Miami's Gulliver Prep, signing him to an overslot $3.3 million bonus, Cleveland Browns, they believed they were getting something rare, not just a player, a competitor, a future cornerstone. Lombard was named New York's new top prospect for 2026 by MLB Pipeline, Fangraphs, and Baseball America, Cleveland Browns, a cross-industry consensus that almost never happens. When you have 3 of the most respected evaluation systems in the country all pointing at the same kid at the same time with the same enthusiasm, that is not a coincidence. That is a signal. The numbers from 2025 were not perfect. Across 132 games and 580 plate appearances at High A Hudson Valley and Double A Somerset, Lombard posted a .235, .367, .381 line with 9 home runs and 49 stolen bases, Cleveland Browns, and the slash line made some people nervous. A .235 average in Double A? All that hype and he couldn't hit .240? What does that say about the prospect? But here is where you need to stop and read deeper because the surface numbers are lying to you. Lombard posted a 102.7 mile-per-hour 90th percentile exit velocity and an average exit velocity of 88.3 miles per hour. The ball was jumping off his bat. The raw power was unmistakably present. He was one of the youngest qualified hitters at the Double-A level, being aggressively challenged by the Yankees at an age when most prospects are still in A-ball. Cleveland Browns. And there was another number that jumped off the page for anyone who truly understands how prospects develop: his walk rate. In Double-A, Lombard posted an excellent 17.9% chase rate and leveraged that approach into a 13.7% walk rate. Bet. That is extraordinary patience for a teenager navigating the most competitive minor league hitter C before Triple-A. He was not flailing at pitches. He was not panicking. He was competing. Baseball America's Josh Norris went on record saying he expected Lombard to have a big year this year and at least reach Triple-A, Cleveland Browns. And when a national evaluator of that stature tells you a 20-year-old Yankee shortstop is a lock for long-term big league impact, you listen.
The defense is already there. An unnamed American League scout told NJ.com he believes Lombard is already a superior defender to Anthony Volpe, saying the hands work better, the feet work better, better arm, and it's not even close. Those are not the words of someone mildly impressed. That is a seasoned professional who watches baseball for a living, telling you that a 20-year-old kid is already doing something at a premium position that the current big league starter cannot match. GM Brian Cashman himself admitted, the gloves ahead of the bat, he could play defense in the big leagues right now. Now, take everything you just heard about Lombard and hold on to it, because the story doesn't stop with one player, not even close. Meet Spencer Jones, 6'7", built like a football player, compared to Aaron Judge all throughout his journey in the minors. Think about that. In the same organization that produced Aaron Judge, the reigning king of the American League, the franchise cornerstone, the man who chases records as casually as most players chase fly balls, the scouts inside this building are telling each other that Spencer Jones has the same tools, the same projectable power, the same terrifying physical profile. Jones hit .274 with a .362 on-base percentage and a .571 slugging mark in 116 games. He blasted 35 home runs, drove in 80 runs, and added 29 stolen bases. 35 home runs in the minor leagues. That is not a prospect doing damage against questionable pitching. That is a physically dominant athlete imposing his will on the competition. Jones ranked second among all minor leaguers in home runs this past season, including 19 in 67 games at Triple-A, earning International League Player of the Month honors in July after batting a league-best .419 with 11 homers. And .419 batting average in Triple-A for a full month, 11 home runs in July alone. The Yankees honored Jones with their internal Kevin Lawn Award as the organization's minor league position player of the year for 2025-26. The organization itself, the people who watched him every single day, looked across their entire minor league system and said, Jones was the best position player we had. That is your program's most honest evaluation of a player's value, and Jones earned it. This spring, Jones surprised observers with a disciplined eye and a willingness to use the opposite field, addressing the swing and miss concerns that had followed him throughout his minor league career. He came into camp in 2026 with something to prove and something visibly different in his approach. Jones slashed .333, .429, .917 with 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, and a .227 WRC+ in 28 spring plate appearances spanning 11 games. A .227 WRC+ in spring training. For context, a .100 WRC+ is league average. Jones was producing at more than double the rate of a league average hitter in Grapefruit League games against professional pitching, with big league scouts sitting in the stands with their notebooks open. The problem for Jones, and this is a real problem even for a player this talented, is roster construction. The Yankees retained their starting outfield in bringing Trent Grisham back on the qualifying offer and signing Cody Bellinger to a 5-year, $162.5 million deal. The road to the Bronx for Jones runs directly through a crowded outfield of established, expensive veterans. He was optioned to AAA at the end of spring training, not because he failed, but because there was simply no room. The talent was undeniable. The timing was not right. Yet. But here is what nobody should miss. Jones is 24 years old. He's knocking on the door of Yankee Stadium, and the only thing standing between him and that door is a starting outfield that will not be young forever. The moment Trent Grisham struggles, the moment an injury opens a slot, Spencer Jones will answer that phone call, and the Bronx will see something it has not seen in years. Now let's talk about the arms, because the pitching side of this story is just as explosive, in some cases, literally. Carlos LaGrange. His name was virtually unknown outside of the most dedicated Yankees prospect community 18 months ago. A kid from the Dominican Republic who signed for just $10,000 in February 2022. $10,000. That is the cost of a used car. That is what the Yankees initially paid for a pitcher who is now making Garrett Cole's jaw drop in spring training. Cole said of LaGrange recently, "It's like silly. I've never seen anything like it. It's wild. I'm just blown away by the velocity every time."
When Garrett Cole, a man who has faced and beaten the best lineups on the planet, tells you that a 22-year-old pitcher's stuff is something he has never seen before, you stop what you are doing and listen. At 103.1 miles per hour, LaGrange threw the fastest pitch recorded in any spring training game this year, and that was not an outlier. He was consistently registering triple-digit heat, even in live batting practice with empty ballparks. LaGrange split his 2025 season between High-A Hudson Valley and Double-A Somerset, striking out 168 batters in 120 innings, going 11-8 with a 3.53 ERA in 24 games. Cincinnati Bengals scouts compare his frame to a young Dellin Betances, the same towering physical presence, the same electricity on the mound, the same question hanging over the future. Starter or closer? Can he harness the control needed to go deep into games, or does he become a weapon of mass destruction out of the bullpen, the kind of arm opposing managers design their eighth-inning lineup around? During the first week of AAA action in 2026, LaGrange's fastball was clocked at 101.3 miles per hour Cleveland Browns, the fastest pitch thrown by any pitcher at any level across the entire opening weekend of AAA baseball. The kid is touching triple digits in April at the minor league level. Think about what that means when he gets to October. Then there's Elmer Rodriguez-Cruz. Where LaGrange represents raw, terrifying power, Rodriguez-Cruz represents something equally valuable: polish, depth, and intelligence. Acquired from the Boston Red Sox in a trade for catcher Carlos Narvaez, Baseball America, Rodriguez-Cruz quickly made Yankees fans forget the name of the player they sent away. The 22-year-old was named Baseball America's Yankees Minor League Pitcher of the Year after dominating across multiple levels in 2025, striking out 176 batters in 150 innings with a 2.58 ERA in 27 games. Cincinnati Bengals' only one pitcher in all of minor league baseball recorded more strikeouts in 2025. Rodriguez-Cruz was the second most dominant minor league arm in the entire country as a Yankee in his first year in the system at age 22. The Yankees honored Rodriguez-Cruz with the Kevin Lawn Award as the organization's minor league pitcher of the year for 2025-26. Prospects Live, pairing him alongside Spencer Jones as the two most outstanding players in the entire minor league pipeline. 2 internal awards, 2 players who haven't thrown a single regular season pitch in the Bronx yet. That is the depth of what is coming. Rodriguez-Cruz is ranked as the Yankees' number 3 prospect by MLB Pipeline and appeared at number 82 in baseball overall, Cleveland Browns. He finished 2025 at AAA, one start which did not go perfectly, but the foundation is there, the arsenal is deep, and his fastball sits in the mid-90s with excellent movement, and he consistently gets 3 pitches for strikes, Cincinnati Bengals, the kind of command that separates prospects from big leaguers. Rodriguez is more undeniable as a starting pitcher than LaGrange, MLB, in terms of his readiness and his polish, and those inside the organization believe that the only question is not whether he reaches the Bronx in 2026, but when. Now let's talk about Cam Schlittler, because if you want to understand what is possible when the Yankees trust a young arm at the highest level, Schlittler's story from 2025 tells you everything. In Game 3 of the American League Wildcard Series against the Red Sox, Schlittler, motivated by online barbs from opposing fans, took the assignment personally and struck out 12 over 8 scoreless innings to end Boston's season. 8 scoreless innings, 12 strikeouts in a playoff elimination game in his first professional postseason appearance against the Red Sox, the most hated rival in Yankees history. Schlittler did not blink. He walked out to the mound like he had been waiting his entire life for that moment, and he was right. He had. Schlittler posted a 2.96 ERA and 84 strikeouts in 73 regular season innings in 2025, MLB.com. He entered 2026 spring training with an early injury scare, back and lat discomfort that sent chills through the Yankees fan base. But Schlittler came back healthy, came back strong, and manager Aaron Boone said simply, "I'll take 70 pitches of Cam Schlittler," MLB.com. When your manager says something like that about a second-year pitcher who has thrown fewer than 100 innings in the big leagues, it means they've seen enough. They believe, and that belief is justified. And let's not forget the newest name to emerge from this pipeline, Dax Kilby, the 2025 first-round pick, a high school shortstop out of Newman, Georgia, who was so advanced, so ready, so clearly a cut above his draft class that the Yankees moved on him immediately. In his 18-game professional debut at Single-A Tampa, Kilby slashed .353, .457, .441 with 16 stolen bases, Sports Illustrated. Not just the numbers, the manner, the calm, the baseball maturity. In a year when most teenagers drafted out of high school are fighting to stay above water in their first professional games, Kilby was making baseball look easy at Single-A. Baseball America's projected Yankees lineup for 2029 already has Dax Kilby entrenched at second base as a 22-year-old starter, which tells you what the industry thinks of his trajectory. This is not wishful thinking. These are the evaluators who have tracked prospects for decades, putting a first-year pro into a projected championship-contending lineup because the evidence demands it.
What makes all of this so significant, so much larger than any individual player's story, is the context in which it is happening. The Yankees are not rebuilding. They are not asking their fan base to be patient for 3 or 4 years while a teardown takes shape. They still have Aaron Judge in right field. They still have Jazz Chisholm Jr., Cody Bellinger, Austin Wells, and an offense that was the best in baseball by runs per game and WRC plus last season. They still have Max Fried leading a rotation. They are still, right now, today, a team built to win a championship. And running alongside that championship window, like a second train on a parallel track, is a prospect pipeline that is producing real, impact-level talent for the first time in years. As one writer put it, describing the 2026 AAA Scranton roster, "This is the deepest and most talented minor league team I've ever seen." That is not hyperbole from a fan. That is an assessment from someone who covers this organization every day, watches these players up close, and understands the difference between prospect hype and legitimate depth. The Yankees have been here before. They built the baby bombers, Sanchez, Bird, Severino, and not all of those stories had perfect endings. Some prospects arrive and some don't. The failure rate in player development is high, even for the best organizations. But the difference between that wave and this one is the sheer number of players who are arriving simultaneously at different positions with different skill sets, creating a redundancy that gives the organization flexibility no matter which players make it and which ones fall short. By 2029, Baseball America envisions a Yankees lineup anchored by Lombard Jr. at third, Dax Kilby at second, Spencer Jones in left field, and Jason Dominguez at designated hitter, all homegrown talents surrounded by Anthony Volpe at shortstop, Austin Wells behind the plate, and Aaron Judge in right field. That is the vision, a starting lineup where the veterans and the homegrown talent coexist, where the farm system feeds the big league roster without requiring massive free agent expenditures, where the Yankees can compete at the highest level without gutting the next generation every time a trade deadline approaches. Is it guaranteed? Of course not. Baseball guarantees nothing. Prospects get hurt. Development stalls. Trades disrupt the timeline. The road from AA to the Bronx is littered with players who looked unstoppable at 20 years old and never took the next step. But right now, in March 2026, with spring training just ending and a new season beginning, the energy inside the Yankees organization is unlike anything it has been in years. Players are competing. Coaches are excited. The man who literally cannot contain his amazement at what he is watching is Garrett Cole, the ace, the veteran, the man who has seen everything, and he is standing at the edge of the mound with wide eyes, watching a 22-year-old from the Dominican Republic throw a baseball harder than almost anyone on the planet. The future of the New York Yankees is here. It is loud. It is fast. It hits baseballs into the upper deck and throws fastballs past big leaguers like they are amateurs. It steals bases and makes bare-hand plays at shortstop that send scouts reaching for their phones to text their colleagues. It is 20 years old, and it is not waiting for permission. The Bronx is about to get very, very loud again. Every dynasty has a moment where the next generation announces itself, where the old guard looks over their shoulder and realizes the line has been crossed, that the players coming behind them are not students anymore, they are competitors. The New York Yankees are standing at that exact moment right now. The names are new, the faces are young, but the hunger, the obsession with winning, the refusal to accept anything less than a championship, that never changes in pinstripes. The future is already knocking, and from everything we have seen this spring, it is knocking very, very hard.